finally achieved the dream of owning my E30 M3. Well, that's what I keep telling myself. In reality, it's as authentic as buying a Louis Vuitton bag from a street vendor in Shanghai. But I mean, who needs it to be 100% authentic? It's 99% authentic. At the end of the day, who am I trying to fool? I mean, am I trying to fool you? No. But welcome to my E30 M3-ish. Every panel on this car was made from a genuine E30 M3. What that means is that I have the molds of an E30 M3. So tucked away here in the back, you'll see there's the boot spoiler. I think that's a rear fender. There's some more stuff down there. So it's all packed away here. There's the C-pillar. So if I wanted to, I can replicate M3s for the world. The front bumper is one of the unique aspects that's not shared with any other E30 model, whether it be a plastic bumper nor a chrome bumper. So this bumper is not actually from an original mold. This is a replication. The reason being is that this bottom trim lip on the original E30 M3 is a two-piece design. So you would normally have a gasket that would reside in between this panel and the chin lip at the bottom. The E30 M3 had two options, one option being an air duct, which is what I went for, and the other option being a fog light. A unique aspect of the E30 M3 front bumper is the indicators. These indicators are not shared with any other E30 model, and this is a genuine E30 M3 indicator. In terms of the bonnet, it's pretty much exactly the same. I don't know if they changed any of the materials or composition, whether it was made from aluminium, whether it was made from carbon fiber, or whether it was made from two-ply toilet paper. I don't know, but it looks the same. So I used what I had. The kidney grills are identical. You did not have a black shadow or any other aspect where the colors are different. The only difference and similarity between an E30 M3 and a 325 IS is that it both had badges, just that the IS had a badge that just said M, and the M3 had one that said M3. The fenders is where it gets tricky, is that you can easily confuse this with a wide body, but it's not the wide body. So if you look in my previous video, the wide body was more rounded. But the M3 is merely an extension from this body line. It comes out, so it comes out by about so much. It comes out, say, 2 of my giant fingers. That's how much it comes out by. And it drops straight down. The wide body curves out. So this is the difference between the wide body fender and the E30 M3 fender. When it came to the suspension, BMW E30 M3 had a lot of aspects to share with the 325 IS. There might have been some differences in terms of the suspension, either in terms of the geometry or the control arms that were used. But there were certain additions on the E30 M3 that came out with a dog nut. Those of you that don't know, it's almost like a Porsche 911, like a GT3 or a GTS with a single nut to lock it. It didn't have the 5 holes. So if we're talking just the base model came 5x120. So I replicated it as well. I did it as 5x120. The brakes, I've upgraded the brakes. But the E30 M3, I don't think it had, it might have had bigger brakes as well. So I replicated again the brakes on the car, and I made it a little bit more modern. So the door on the E30 M3, if you recall, the E30 M3 was based on the chrome bumper chassis, not on the plastic bumper chassis. So what that means is the chrome bumper chassis, from the fender going all the way across, it had a plastic or rubber type of beading that filled the bottom. It almost separated the top half of the door with the bottom half of the door. So on the E30 M3, what they did was they removed this panel and they closed it. I obviously don't have E30 M3 doors, but what I did do was I closed this hole and I made it look seamless as if it has this panel. So if you look closely, you'll see on the fender it has this design, and by closing this hole I carried on that line exactly the same. So this is not the panel, this is from the original Fender. I just closed the gap that goes here along, and this extends all the way to the rear fender. Now in terms of the rear fender, again it has the bulginess that protrudes on the side. So what happens on the front happens at the rear as well. This is what gives it its wide body appearance. The door sills, on the other hand, is quite interesting. Again, if you recall on my previous video, the wide body had a single piece side skirt that extended from the front fender down and went to the rear fender. On the E30 M3, it's a single piece fender that does not join it but attaches to both the front and the rear. But if you look at the originals, they did not join it to the fender. What they did was, this is a single molded piece that goes into and over the existing and original panel. And it comes out on the side. It almost comes out to give you that wide-bodied appearance. Have a look to see what I mean. If you can see here how it comes out, you can see it pushes out towards the tire. And the same happens on the front. You can see it pushing out. You can see this part here, this here, how it pushes out. The mirrors are identical from the 323, no change whatsoever. Let's take a pause, because the next element I'm going to speak about is what truly defines and sets apart the E30 M3 from any other E30 M3 out there. The only distinguishing feature about this particular part is that the original E30 M3 was the only car that will have it in its original metal form. Unless you buy a new one, which is not available, and there's replicated ones which is sheet pressed into the design. Now, what I'm displaying to you could potentially be the first publicly acknowledged replica E30 M3 in South Africa. Prior to Rospa Imports bringing in a good few original E30 M3s, this is the first documented and proudly fake E30 M3 that you're going to see on the internet. And what sets it apart is that I have the Holy Grail C-pillar. When BMW entered, I think it was the Group 3 racing or whatever format they were racing, they needed to make the car a bit more sportier and aerodynamic. That's how come you have this Evolution 3 rear wing with an adjustable duck fin and a smaller boot. So none of the E30 M3s had a small boot like this here. The original boot ended here. So it was from here all the way here. And the E30 M3 boot goes from this point and it wraps around the rear of the fender. It wraps around. That's how you tell. And none of the E30 M3s would have plastic bumper taillights. They all had the chrome bumper taillights. But let's get to the Holy Grail part. The part that sets my fake and make it 99% original. Let me show you. This is the Holy Grail. It is the C-pillar that runs across. So it attaches to the original C-pillar, and you will see it will extend it out by about 15 centimeters. So if you look at this part, this is the extension that it takes it out. This part is not attached to the body. It resides free. It's almost a free floating part at the body. And on the top, you had this strip that covered the seam wells or the spot wells from the factory. This is no Hong Kong. This is original E30 M3 glass. It's lighter to save weight, and also it cost in the region of about a Project 323. The glass and the beadings alone is in the region of about 30,000 Rand from BMW. So the beading runs across, it's a two-piece beading, runs across there, joins in the center, and comes across at the bottom. Now you're most probably wondering, hey, I got a shorter boot in the car, how does this boot open? And you are 100% correct, is that the boot opens with special unique hinges that were only designed for the E30 M3. And take a guess, I have those hinges. So if you see the hinge design is completely unique to the E30 M3. It extends to the bottom, even its mounting point is completely different. If you look on that side as well, you'll get a better idea. The bumper as well, it's another unique part. The only difference between mine and the original is that the original has a beading that sits on the inside, a rubber gasket. I do have the gasket, but for some reason my bumper is not allowing me to do it because I don't think I have the clips underneath the bumper to attach that particular rubber. So there will be a black line that will go here. You can be unique. You can even put a pink line if you want. And at the bottom it has another chin lip, but the chin lip protrudes this outwardly. In terms of the interior of my particular build, I did not replicate the E30 M3. Initially I did want to do it, and I'll show you. So I went and acquired M-Rain material. The E30 M3 was a bit more darker, but this is what I could get my hands on at the time. I did a single flat color on the sides, being the gray, and then I did the M-Rain on the inside. And I did the door panels as well in the exact same design. So I wanted to replicate it, but it just wasn't my style. What I decided to do on the inside of the car was I wanted to make it a bit more unique. So I went for a set of OEM. That's a good one. I went for a set of OMP seats. Beanies. The reason beanies, I'm not going to spend 25,000 Rand on those shit sports seats. I got a dashboard from a 318. You can check there. With the, safety belt. And then I kind of did a detachable steering wheel. I did an e-brake. Ooh, yeah, skid marks. RTD shifter. Found a used carpet. Found a used blue carpet with matching panels on the inside. And yeah, at the back, well, you can't see because my lighting in my basement is like shit. But anyway, you can see there. So this is my fake E30 M3. I always wanted an E30 M3. I built one myself. I told the world it was fake. Now go tell your friends it's fake. Go tell your friends he's driving a fake car bought from Small Street in Johannesburg CBD.